Hello, everybody. Welcome back to High and D Sports. My name's Ocean.
How's it? My name's John.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing to you guys our reaction to the college football championship game hours after it finished. This is going to be the first of our, we'll call it remote episodes. John is back in Minot, North Dakota, going to school, finishing out his junior year. And so now we will be doing our episodes via this uh, this app. It's
Online.
called Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we warned you guys, like we told you guys this is gonna happen. Unfortunately, we can't be in person for all of
Yeah.
um our videos, but once he comes back in the summer, we'll be back to doing in person stuff. But for
I would
now,
like to
we'll be
say
doing it like this.
I would like to say
Yeah.
that I would like to say that we kind of apologize in advance. My quality might not be the best. I'm working with some, not the best
Yeah.
equipment that's out there, but also I'd like to apologize for kind of being not very active this past week or so. We kind of have been trying to prepare for how it's going to be when we do go apart or like separate, and also we were pretty upset about the whole Washington Commander stuff. So we
Yeah. That is
but yeah,
true. We
we're
didn't post anything did we post anything last week? I don't even know.
no, we didn't.
But yeah, so it's been a little bit since our last post, and we just between John getting ready to go back to school and like you said, our Washington season going down in the dumps and all that stuff. We were frustrated and whatnot. So yeah, I do apologize. We will try to get John some better equipment so that his quality does improve. But for now, this is a podcast, so we
Yeah,
just want to make sure that you guys can hear what we have to say.
yeah,
And what we have to say today about the absolute butt whooping that Georgia laid on TCU is that it was a butt whooping. and
yeah.
and I'm sorry TCU, I was rooting for you guys, but if we go back to our predictions video, I did go 3 for 3 on
3 for 3.
predictions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
I don't remember if you asked me in the video or you asked me outside of the video, but this is probably the definition of getting mollywopped.
it's funny that you say that because when I was watching the game, and I knew that we were going to record afterwards, right? We were
Yeah,
going to talk about it. In my head, I was like, huh, this is what John means by mollywop.
yeah,
Because it definitely was a mollywop.
yeah. I don't know what the
Georgia
word means, but that's
dominated.
what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the definition. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's just going to have a link to the game. um, but yeah, this game was Georgia dominated in every aspect of the
Yeah.
game, from defense to offense to special teams, everything. They dominated, and it
I
wasn't.
mean, yeah. The
No,
score. I
it
mean, the
wasn't
score
just
speaks for itself, but
yeah, which I'll throw up on the screen right here. This was the score. It was Georgia 65, TCU 7.
yeah,
The
and
fact that
every
TCU
statistic.
Yeah, the fact that TCU scored 7 points is a miracle in of
Yeah,
itself. I don't know.
yeah,
I guess they needed 1, but man, Georgia just looked absolutely dominant throughout the game. Like you said, in every stat, if we look at the box score, it's there's not even one stat in the box score that TCU is better in.
yep.
Like literally everything. Third down
Just
efficiency,
completely.
penalties, even fumbles, turnovers in general, punts, total plays. Georgia ran 72 plays to TCU's 51 plays, but Georgia had almost 600 yards of total
Yeah,
offense, and TCU had
I,
under 200.
right. That's just crazy.
Yeah, for this to be the pinnacle of college football, it's kind of it's not that I don't think that TCU belonged here or earned it, but
Yeah,
it's surprising to see this crazy or this big of a margin of a victory
yeah,
in what was supposed to be the highest echelon of college
right.
football. My question to you is: do you think that any of the other three or other two teams within the college football playoffs could have given Georgia a run for their money.
Um, I honestly don't think so. I mean, I think the best team in the college football playoffs that gave them the best money was the team that almost beat them. I think that Michigan wouldn't have been able to keep up with them. TCU obviously couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say what I'd like to say is that I think it's interesting to see is when you look down like the college football playoffs has been here for 9 years, right? Something like that.
Yeah. 9 years. Yep.
I feel like it's like every few years it's really close games and there's a blowout and then there's a few close
Mm.
games and there's a blowout and I don't think that any other team can compete with Georgia. Um, I mean, obviously it's here or there, but I mean maybe Alabama could have competed with Georgia, but I don't even know because Alabama had some pretty close games and they're not the team that they used to be. Um,
Yeah. Well, I
but
mean,
yeah,
I don't know that they're. I don't know that I would say that. I mean, they did. They were only one spot out of the college football playoffs, so maybe they're just having an off year.
yeah,
Can't be can't be at the top of the food chain forever. You gotta have a dip here every once in a while, especially when you're talking about college football where you have a turnover of players of
right.
every 4 years at the
Well,
excuse me. So it's
even shorter years now because of the
yeah, because most people are declaring after their
transfer.
junior year or transferring. So I think it's harder to stay at the top in college
Yeah,
football, and I think Alabama is just maybe having an off year or whatever because they did win their bowl game in convincing
yeah,
fashion.
yeah,
So uh, I don't know. I don't think that any other team could have really given the or beat them. I think they were the best team in football. I mean, that's why I chose them to win. I was rooting for
yeah,
TCU because it would have been nice to see the Cinderella story happen and all that. But I knew that Georgia was going to win. They have the best roster. They performed the best throughout the season. Like
yeah,
they really did deserve the win. I just wish that it was a little bit of a closer game and made
yeah,
it interesting. I mean, I'm sorry TCU, but that game was bad. Like
yeah. It was boring
it was hard
from
to watch. Yeah.
like I think there was one deep play that TCU threw the ball up and he caught it, and I was like, oh, here we go. And then after that, I was just like, I don't even
Yeah.
really want to watch this. I'm kind of more watching this just so I know what happens.
Right. That's exactly how I felt. That's when my wife came home and walked through the door and she's like, "Why are you watching this when it's 45-7?" And I was like, "I'm not really watching it. I'm just kind of trying to pay attention so that in case
Yeah,
something crazy happens, I know what happened while we talk about it here." But yeah, it was pretty bad. Uh,
yeah,
I I think that maybe Michigan uh defense is better than TCU, and maybe they might have been able to. Um, but that's all hearsay and what if kind of
yeah,
stuff. And the reality is that Georgia just beat TCU
yeah.
65-7, and
Yeah, well,
it's
let's talk
kind of
about the stars of the game, right? And then, obviously, it's the end of the year. We don't know who's going up to the draft. We don't know
right.
who's staying back. But obviously, both teams have some seniors. Um,
Yeah. So on the TCU side of the ball, we have quite a few seniors actually. Counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26, 17, 29.
holy cannoli,
They have 30 seniors
30
total
seniors.
on their team, and it's a mix of positions and whatnot, obviously. But yeah, there's 30 seniors on their team. So that's 30 guys on their team that are not going to be there. Some
Yeah,
notable ones are obviously Max Duggan, their star quarterback, right? Uh, what happened? Are you there?
yeah, I'm there. I don't know. You just cut out for a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, just kind of like paused. All right. So obviously, somebody that stands out is Max Duggan, their star quarterback. Right, he is off to the draft guarantee. Um, they got. I'm trying
One of their seniors,
to.
one
Not
of the
really.
receivers is a senior, right?
Um. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. If you got
Uh,
30 seniors, you probably got a senior at almost
Darius
every position.
Davis. That's who it is. Darius
Okay.
Davis is a senior. That's the. He's number 11. They're number 2
He's the guy
receiver.
who actually did good this game.
Yeah,
Or
he had
yeah,
103 or 104 yards. Let me look. He had 101 yards. He's the one that caught that 60-yard uh pass
yeah.
that kind of maybe might have been their comeback. But uh also Imari DiMaccardo, one of their running backs, not their like star running back,
Yeah.
but the guy that played all night tonight.
And he had a
He
good game
is a
against
senior.
Michigan too.
He did.
Dave
He did.
Ricardo. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a solid running back. I mean, he's
Yeah.
solid. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got picked up maybe in a later round of the draft.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a lot of guys. A couple of their cornerbacks, some of their linebackers, a couple of their tight ends, a safety, Josh Foster. Um, yeah, there's quite a bit. Their punter is a senior. Uh, yeah, there's quite a bit. There's a few offensive linemen. Actually, there's like 4 or 5 offensive linemen that are all seniors.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year when all of these guys leave, right?
Right.
And then um the rest of the team filling in. So they obviously have some good underclassmen.
Yeah.
Their star receiver, oh man, I can't remember his name. Jeez. Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
He's a junior, so he might declare, I don't know. With the season he had,
Yeah. It's
maybe
hard
he
to
will,
say.
because he probably would be a first round pick if he
Yeah.
declared. Uh, s- so I guess the silver lining of this game, like if there is something that we could pick out of the game to make the score not seem so bad, is that hey TCU, you guys got mollywopped, right? But you at least made it here. You made it
Right.
to the national championship. So when you go out and you recruit now, you have that arrow in your
Pedigree.
quiver to use and that pedigree to walk around with and be like, hey, like we built a team that was able to make it to the national championship.
Right.
And prior to this year,
Right.
nobody was begging to go to TCU, right? Like compared to Georgia,
Yeah.
Alabama, or a lot of the other SEC schools or big name schools, like TCU wasn't up there. But
Right.
now,
But now they have that recognition. Like
right,
they're on TV. You know, some people from Texas. Obviously, there's tons of other bigger schools in Texas to go to,
right,
but some kids in Texas they might be, more willing to go to TCU, especially since they built that program in a year. I mean, obviously,
right,
lots of seniors, older classmen players, but I mean, with a brand new head coach to be able to go to the, not to just playoff, not to a bowl game, but to the top of the top in
yeah.
1 year is pretty amazing.
Shout out to that head coach. Can't remember his name. Sonny
Some,
Dykes.
yeah, Sunny Dykes, yeah,
Sonny Dykes. Shout out to you, man. First year as the head coach of this football team, and you take them to the national championship. That's a uh, feat that not many people have been able to accomplish on any level, not just at
right,
college, but pro
right.
level or any level. So
I'm sure it
congrats to
happens even
you.
less in high school.
Oh yeah, congrats to you on being able to do that. And from everything that I've read and heard about his um, demeanor and his coaching style and everything, is that it's very much a accountability and discipline focused um,
Right,
culture
right,
now in TCU. I heard a story about him because he brought a strength and conditioning coach with him, and it. I heard a story about him the day after it was announced uh, that he was the head coach. He called up the strength and conditioning head coach and said, "Hey, everybody's in the gym tomorrow." And so, like,
Yeah.
literally 2 days into being the head coach, or the day after becoming the head coach, he's in the gym with all of his players working out, and that's where it starts, right?
Right.
That's how you can get to this potential. So, uh, hopefully, going forward, TCU is able to recruit more people, and more people want to
Yep.
play for them, because it'd be great to see them continue to be a top echelon team,
Right.
and that's something that we kind of talked about in our prediction video, is that we want to see the best teams play each other, and the the like margin of talent level between teams
Right.
is slowly getting better, but notoriously it's been large. And notoriously there's been like maybe 5 teams that are
Right.
like top of the top best teams in the college football playoff, or college football. Uh, but hopefully now that some of these smaller teams are getting more recognition and whatnot,
Yeah.
hopefully we can start to bridge that gap
Yeah.
and get more teams competing for
What I'm
this top
what I'm worried
honor.
about really is TCU going to be the next Cincinnati? Because last
Ooh,
year Cincinnati was
yeah,
undefeated, went to the college football playoffs. Obviously, TCU went further than they did because
yeah,
they got beat up by Alabama. But I mean, Cincinnati, a ton of them got drafted. I
yeah.
mean,
They
Derek
got
Derek
drafted.
Forrest from on our team is from Cincinnati,
And,
and
well, I mean, the most famous one, right? Sauce.
right. So
Sauce,
everyone
and
got
he panned
drafted,
out, obviously, so
and Cincinnati is like, no, no, you don't even hear about Cincinnati anymore. You know,
that is true. Whether or not they will be, I don't even know what their score, uh, Cincinnati. Oh my god, I don't know how to spell
and
their.
maybe they had a good season, but I don't hear about them.
Yeah. Sorry. Cincinnati was 6-2, 9-4 overall.
9-4. See, they had a good season, but you don't hear about them.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
9-4 in college football is pretty bad, but
they were third in the AAC.
okay.
Speaking of another team from the AAC, Tulane. Did you see that Tulane
Yes,
set the
Tulane.
record for the biggest turnaround? Last year they
Yep,
were 2-10. Uh 2-10 on the season. This year they were 12-2 and won
yep.
their AAC, and they won their bowl game. I think that was the Orange Bowl, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Tulane had a pretty dang good season.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty
that's
it's
always
pretty
a bit.
cool to
So
watch.
it's just another one of those things, like, for me, it's just I wanna see these smaller schools. I mean, they're not really small schools, but just smaller schools begin to be able to recruit on the same level as the
Right,
SEC and whatnot, and be able to compete, because it just makes college football better altogether.
right.
If we
And
just
people say that college football is like more entertaining than NFL, and I mean, you could argue either way, but the thing about the NFL is that it has that term that any given Sunday,
right.
you know, any given Sunday, any team could be any team, and I'm like, you don't really know. You go in and
Yeah,
expect the Bills to go up and like absolutely dominate the Texans, but you don't know. Like the Texans literally could come out and make it a close game or actually
right.
beat you on a last second Hail Mary or a Hail Mary within the last 1 minute or something like that. Like, but in
Yeah.
college you don't really see that very often. Like if you're
The
Cincinnati
upset
going
team, you
against
mean.
Alabama, you don't
Yeah.
you don't expect to win, or you like. I mean, maybe the teams do, but as a fan, you're like, I don't know. You know,
Yeah. No, I would agree with you that the the frequency of upsets within the frequency of major upsets within college football is definitely a lot lower
right?
compared to the NFL. So hopefully, with the college football playoff changing next year, more teams getting a chance to play at the highest level, hopefully that will begin to elevate all the programs throughout college
Yeah,
football, and just like you said, uh, give them a chance to beat
right.
and recruit better. So
Yeah, and it's just with this new college football playoff, something that I didn't think about really until today was like, if you think about how much time after TCU's regular or like their um their division or conference championship against K State
Yeah.
versus their game against Michigan. It was like 2.5 weeks, and
Right.
then they only had 9 days to prepare for Georgia. So I think with the 12 team playoffs, it could potentially eliminate that kind of deal where you have a significant more amount of time to rest and prepare for a team, and then turn around and
Mm,
have to play an even better team in the near
right.
future. Because I feel like TCU, like, to me, it kind of seemed like the moment was too big. I'm not saying that they didn't try hard. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they didn't work hard, but I just felt like the moment got to them, and it was just like, dang, maybe if we had a little
I
bit more
think
time.
I don't know that I would say the moment got to them. I just think that Georgia's talent level and ability was just far superior to TCU
Yeah,
because, like, when I was watching the game, even though they were up 30 points at half, the TCU came out and they tried. I didn't see any players really give up or you know, so I didn't see that. They tried, they hit hard, they were still chasing after the ball, they're still trying. So I think it's more so that just the the disparity in talent level from Georgia to TCU was large. And
right.
on this day, Georgia prepared the right way. And when you have the talent and you combine that with the work and putting in the work and doing the right things,
Yeah,
you just can't beat it. That's just the unfortunate reality. So, uh, but I do think that you probably are still partially right that 2.5 weeks versus 9 days, so literally double the amount of time to prepare for a team is gonna make it a lot. I don't want to say easier, but give you a better chance of beating a team that's
right,
better than you
right.
for sure. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's kind of why they do the playoffs the way they do in the pros, right? They have the wild card weekend. They force the teams that are lower seeded to have to play more often and actually prove that they
Right.
belong at that level. So just to show consistency and whatnot. And hopefully that's what we see come out of the changes that are going to be made to call it
Yeah.
the college football playoff as well.
Yeah. And I
Let's talk.
definitely
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, no, I was gonna say I definitely think that 12 is still too much.
Yeah,
Um
yeah,
because if
probably.
it like I would we had this conversation last time, but I just want to add one little thing is that I
Sure.
don't think the seventh seed in the NFL playoffs on either conference, it's been there for 3 years now, 4 years now, something like that. I don't think they've ever won a game. The seventh seed has always lost.
Mm.
So
I couldn't tell you because I don't
um
remember.
so
Was the
I just don't
Titans
want
the
to see
7th
that.
seed? When the Titans win as a wild card and they upset and made it to the
I think they were sixth
championship?
seed.
They're a sissy. Maybe that was before
But
the
I
7th
don't
seed was added.
I don't. That's what I don't want with college football. Is I don't want teams like a smaller school or school that really shouldn't like can't compete to make it to the playoffs, get this hype, and then they just get spanked right away.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I guess, like, yeah, you're right. It would be unfortunate for those teams to have to go through that, but I guess the flip side of that is that it at least gives them a chance, right? You at least have a chance to
Right.
try and make something happen. And on top of that, it kind of goes along with what I was saying as the silver lining for TCU that if we do want to elevate the talent level and bridge the gap between the higher echelon teams and the not so high teams in the college football, we got to get more exposure for the smaller programs. And so
Right.
maybe by having them in the college football playoff and be able to say, hey, our program made it to the college football playoff,
Yeah.
it would help them with their recruiting efforts and then again bring up the talent level of everybody. I don't know if
Yeah.
that would be actually be the case, but I could see that being again the silver lining of that particular thing. So, let's talk about Georgia's roster real quick a little bit. They have uh about half as many seniors as TCU.
Yeah.
They have like 14 seniors, I think. Um, and there's not really a whole lot of like really. I mean, obviously Stetson Bennett is a senior. and he will be
Yeah.
going to the draft. And the only other like really notable person is Kenny McIntosh, one of their running backs. Maybe Nolan Smith, one of the outside linebackers. Um, but outside of that, like everybody else, I don't want to say they're not important, but uh,
Well, they're young.
like those are the big names, right? And the big
Yeah.
names in the senior group are Stetson Bennett, maybe Kenny McIntosh, maybe Robert Beal. I do
Yeah.
like
Well,
Robert Beal as a
that's just
linebacker.
a scary thing about Georgia is they're young. You know,
Yeah, they have a very young team.
like you said, one of their defensive linemen is he's a freshman,
Yes.
but
So,
he's dominating.
yeah. So Bear. Oh man, what is his name? Bear. Jeez. Pretty sure his first name is Bear. Oh, they have so many freshmen on their team. Bear Alexander. That's his name. Bear Alexander, 6'3", 305 pounds, and he is a force to reckon with in the middle of the defensive line.
Yeah,
If you get a chance to watch the highlights of this game, watch him. He's number 99 on
Georgia.
Georgia's team, and he tears it up. Like he is what when we were talking about like the difference between a true nose tackle and a defensive tackle
Yeah,
in one of our other videos. He is what you would consider a true nose tackle. He
right.
lines up in that 0 or 1 technique, and he just tears apart the interior of offensive lines, and
Yeah.
he's just all over the place. So
And the crazy thing is he had some big shoes to fill too,
yes,
with
very
Jordan
much so.
Davis leaving.
So it's scary. Dude is a freshman. He's got
Yeah,
at least 2 more years of development. He could be scary good. Another person that is worth mentioning in that same light is their star tight end, um, Bowers. What is his first name? Jeez.
I feel like it's Ricky.
Uh, Ricky Bowers. Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers. Yeah,
Their their star tight end, and he had a hell of a season, and he was arguably the MVP of this game.
yeah. Every time he had the ball in his hands, he was
Yeah.
electrifying.
He had an insane, like, back shoulder fade catch,
Yep.
20-yard catch for a touchdown. He had a few clutch catches over the middle that were crucial to keep drives going. He just seemed like he was always in the right place at the right time. And I made a point that once he started showing his prowess with the ball, I
Yeah.
made a point to try and watch him while they were running the ball to see like what his capability was in that regard. And to be honest, a lot of what they do when they run the ball is they pull the tight end, or they do like a duo concept similar to Washington. So he doesn't get a whole lot of like straight up one-on-one blocks. But the few times that I did see him block, I mean, he wasn't anything incredible. He was no George Kittle, but he's
Yeah.
solid. Like I
Yeah.
didn't look at it and be like, oh, that's a weakness of his.
Yeah.
And he's got at least another year of development. So it'll be
Right.
pretty interesting to see what he's able to do. I think a pretty close comparison to compare him to is Kenny Pitts. Right, Kenny Pitts was,
Kyle Pitts.
uh,
Yep.
or sorry, Kyle. Oh gosh, I just I just merged Kenny Pickett and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts uh, was, I mean, he's the highest drafted tight end of all time,
Right.
right? And I think that Brock Bowers with another year of development, and if he continues on the same trajectory, I mean, I don't know, man. I think he
Yeah.
could be better than Kyle Pitts.
Something
So
that I noticed that's pretty interesting. I think he had almost 800 yards this season.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
think he had as a freshman. I'm pretty sure he had over 800 yards as a freshman last year.
that's impressive. That's very
And
impressive.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I was looking it up earlier, and I'm pretty sure that's
Uh-huh.
what I saw.
I
So
don't
that's
know
a
that off the top of my head, but
so if if he continues into next season, I mean
yeah,
he's probably going to
at
be
that
a
same
first round
pace.
draft pick.
Yeah, I mean, based off of this game and this season that he had this year, I mean, he would be arguably a first round draft pick if he were to go to the draft this year. So,
Yeah.
one more year, as long as he doesn't regress at all, I think he would be
Yeah.
pretty shoo in. Another person in the tight end room that I just want to bring up real quick because every time I saw him on the screen, I was just like, taken aback about how massive of a dude he was, is another one of their tight ends, Darnell Washington, number 0.
Yeah,
He's currently a junior. I'm not sure if he's gonna declare for the draft, but the dude is 6'7", 270 pounds, and
that's a
not
big
like
boy.
270, a little sloppy. He is a built 270.
Yeah,
He had
that's
one
a big
catch for
boy.
28 yards in this game against TCU, and it would have been a touchdown if Stenson had actually put it on a little bit better of a line. He kind of made him have to high point the ball, and it gave the safety just enough time to come back and wrap up Darnell. But uh, like he was athletic, is what I mean. Like
Yeah,
when you watch the catch, he kind of like jumps and turns uh, to face Stetson Bennett, catches the ball, lands on his feet, and then gets tackled. And for somebody that is 270 pounds, 6'7", to be able to do that, like that gives me
yeah,
very like Megatron vibes, being
yeah,
able to be that big and control your body like that. So I'd let what I would like to see is maybe another year of development from him. Stay at Georgia for your senior year. Get get another year of development. I think your stock would go up
yeah.
pretty high.
I could also see him entering the transfer portal and getting a season somewhere else.
That is a fair point too, especially because of Brock Bowers being in the same room as him,
Yeah,
and Georgia not really running a whole lot of two tight end looks. Well, that's not true. They do run a lot of two tight end looks, but uh, when they do a two tight end look, one tight end is always blocking, and
yeah,
when you have a guy like Brock Bowers on the field, he's going to be
yeah.
the guy running the
You don't
route.
want to find reasons not to give
Yeah,
him the ball.
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens
But
with
yeah,
Georgia's team and TCU's team for different reasons, right? TCU has a large exodus of seniors. It'd be interesting to see if they can recruit to fill those gaps. And Georgia the next? I mean, I think they've kind of established themselves as a powerhouse football
yeah,
team that is going to
100%.
rival Alabama and the other powerhouses going forward. But you know, what does that what does that look like going forward? Who's going to be at the helm? Stetson Bennett is leaving, 100% leaving. So who's going to
Yeah,
fill that gap? Is it going to be Beck that we saw get put in the game today
yeah. Or
in the
someone
fourth
else gonna
quarter?
come from somewhere else.
Yeah, I
You
mean
know.
they do have five other quarterbacks on their team. So I mean I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody will enter the transfer portal and fill that gap and take them
Yeah.
to another college football
I
championship.
think
Maybe.
ultimately both teams their future is bright. Obviously, I think
Yeah,
Georgia shines a little bit brighter just because they're young right now, and
yeah,
they're gonna get older and stuff. But TCU kind of has a lot of recruiting to do. But man, I don't know. With if Bryce Young for Alabama enters the draft,
mm,
if CJ Stroud enters the draft, I really don't see anybody else stopping Georgia from going a third consecutive title.
yeah. I mean, you just never know.
Yeah,
Guys pop out of the like the quarterback that won the Heisman Trophy from SC. I didn't
yeah,
even know
Caleb
about him.
Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well,
who the heck he
I knew
was
about
prior to
him.
this season.
I only knew about him because he used to go to Oklahoma, and
Oh,
um, Dylan Gabriel was the replacement for him at Oklahoma, and Dylan
oh,
Gabriel went to Mililani. So
right.
like I followed Dylan Gabriel. I was like, oh, he went to Oklahoma. I thought they had a good quarterback. Oh, the guy from Oklahoma transferred to USC when Lincoln Riley went. That makes sense. So,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I knew
That
about
does
him. I
make
didn't know
sense.
that. I didn't think he was that good though.
Yeah, was gonna end up winning the Heisman.
Yeah,
So where do you predict Stetson Bennett falling in the draft? Do you see him as a first round talent, or do you see
man,
him going later in the draft?
it's so hard. If I am being honest, I don't think he's gonna go in the first round.
Hmm.
I think the combination of him being a little undersized, um,
Yeah, he is
and
what
and old.
5'11" or 6 foot.
Yeah, he's around that like medium size. He's a little undersized. I mean, to me, he looks small on screen. Like he just looks like a small dude.
Yeah.
But he's got the leadership, he's got the energy that you like from a quarterback. But
Yeah, he's
I just think
5'11", 190 pounds.
yeah, I just think he's a bit on the smaller side and he's old. That means if you're gonna draft him in the first round. You have an option. You basically have an option to have him on your team until he's 30, 31 years old,
Right.
you know? So it's
So
like,
maybe he goes to a team that is just looking for a quarterback
right,
to complete their roster.
right. But maybe in the second round, like maybe
Yeah.
someone who doesn't want to spend the extra amount of money
Yeah.
to take someone like that. But also, there's probably enough interest on him in general that I would say he's probably a day two pick, in my opinion.
I think that based off of his pro day and his combine and seeing what his numbers and stuff are, I think that there's potential for him sneaking into the first round. I know there's a lot of teams out there that like that popping pick. He's
Yeah,
the college football championship winner. He was a Heisman finalist. Uh, they're looking for that pop pick, and I could see them, or maybe a team that has an early pick and maybe trades back into the first round to pick him up.
yeah,
Because there's a few teams that I can think of that kind of really just need a quarterback to kind of complete the roster. Somebody like maybe the Titans. Maybe the Titans draft a wide receiver in the first round
yeah,
and then pick him up on day two, and then now they're like off to the races because they still got Derrick Henry and they got a solid
yeah,
defense. So uh, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Stetson Bennett because you're right that the fact that he's 25 years old is going to make a big difference. Um, Last thing I do want to talk about real quick before we wrap up this episode. It has to do with the game, but it has nothing to do with like the players or anything. Uh, I stumbled upon a different broadcast of the game on
the
ESPN.
skies. Is that
Yeah,
what
on
you watched?
ESPN News.
Yeah,
So on regular ESPN they have the normal broadcast, right? And then on ESPN2 I think they have like the Peyton Manning broadcast or whatever. But then I just stumbled upon it because I accidentally clicked on it instead of
yeah,
clicking on the regular one. But it was like the sky cam pretty much the whole time, which
yeah,
I don't usually like the sky cam footage, but there was no commentators
yep.
the
There
whole
was no
time. It
commentators.
was
And
amazing.
the only thing that the only thing that you heard was the play by play was like, oh, Stetson Bennett. For
Yeah.
like the thing you would hear in a stadium.
Right. You hear the stadium announcer within the broadcast. I loved it. And
Yeah,
I wish that like the NFL would do something like this. They never will because there's too much money involved with their commentators and
yeah,
broadcasters with it. But if I could watch NFL football, I would not want it to just be Skycam. I still would want the regular camera angles that you get on a normal
yeah,
broadcast. But if we could have a broadcast where there's no commentators, that would be amazing. Because
yeah. Like you could hear the game,
yeah,
watch the
and
game.
there's just a lot of the commentators now are just it's too much. I don't like it.
Yeah,
So
like Greg Olson.
yeah.
Not a big fan of Greg Olson.
But yeah, I just wanted to make note of that because that's what I watched majority of the game in, and it just happened on accident. I didn't even
Yeah,
mean to do it, but
yeah. I
I really
literally,
liked it.
I actually did the same exact thing because I was wondering. I was like, why are there no commentators? And I was like, and then I realized it's actually really weird because when you sign in, I watched it on YouTube TV.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
did the
you
same.
did too.
Yeah,
When I first click into it, there's like, you know how it's like pick the games
right.
across. There was like seven of them. I was scrolling. I was like,
Yeah,
what the heck? Which one do I choose? I
yeah.
just
There's a
chose
lot of
whatever I
broadcasts.
chose. So
Yeah, I liked it a lot, and if it were to come out that there was an option to watch more games like that, I probably would, if I'm being honest. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us on this episode as we try to feel out this new method of recording. We are going to try and continue to do 2 episodes a week and continue to record it. It might be a little bit of trouble because John's got school, I got work. And so we're going to do our best. But
yeah,
this is what it's going to look like going out from here. So thank you
yeah.
guys for joining us. We appreciate you being here. Thank you guys for all the love and support on the channel lately. And yeah, anything else you want to say, John?
No, I would say we don't have an exact plan on when we're gonna post, how much we're gonna post. Obviously, sports go up and down too.
Yeah,
Like the college football playoffs just ended. It's the NFL playoffs. Soccer, I know there's some leagues about to start up. So we don't really know where we're going with this necessarily, but we're gonna try to do our best within our, the time that we have, which is like 1 to 2 episodes, probably
Yeah.
2 episodes a week. Um, but we'd love to make episodes on things you guys want to hear. So make sure you comment something that you want to know about, so we know what direction we could go in.
Yeah, please. We'd love to hear from you guys on any of the topics that we talk about or any future topics you'd like us to record on. Please let us know down in just the comments below. But ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media down in the description below. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Deuces.